Welcome back, everybody. I'm sitting here with my boy Nate from Unshakable Trading. I have had Nathan on prior before, and we had such a great time. We decided to run it back one more time, just so that you guys get a once over. Nate is actually my trading coach and my hypnotherapist. I have relied on him many times to help with trading performance and any kind of hiccups that I might encounter through bad habits or whatever. We actually refer to them as mental oil changes. So I have recently reached out to Nate. We had a mental oil change or two, and it spawned this whole conversation about doing another podcast. And he's been working on some good stuff. He's actually on Substack now. You guys probably noticed I've been liking and retweeting a lot of his stuff. Guys, this is the man right here. I mean, I hate to plug him shamelessly, but I'm going to. He has helped me more than I could possibly ever do myself. And so for those of you guys who are super serious about performance and taking it to the next level, Nate is a great follow, and he is a great person to know. So without all ado here, my friend, I'm just going to kind of roll out the red carpet for you. So,
man, that's incredible. No.
I know you didn't expect any of that, but
that's incredible. I love that.
No,
and I appreciate it, man. And I think what I appreciate most about you is that you recognize it, right? Like so many times for traders, we think it's a, one and done, set it and forget it kind of a deal. And it's not like, oh, look, I read a book on trading psychology. I got it.
I'm good.
I watched the video. I tried one exercise.
Yeah.
Cool. That's kind of like going to the gym and lifting one weight, and they're like, I'm good.
Right. Luke Ferrigno status.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
Like it takes time to build, and it's something that we have to do consistently, because it doesn't matter who the trader is. We're all subjective to tilt, to questions,
sure.
to doubts, to all of that stuff.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and throw myself under the bus here, just because why not? I'm used to, listen, when you're married, you get told you're wrong all the time. So I'm used to it by now, right? You're wrong. Okay, I'm wrong, right? So I reached out to you actually about a piece that I just sent out a few minutes ago. It was basically putting the process over the data. You and I both know that I've been on this algorithmic mission of basically making new products with my partner that is all based on statistical data, hedge fund stuff, and stuff that you and I have talked about 1,000 times. When I very first met you, one of the biggest things that you wanted me to do, and all traders you do, you say, run your numbers, figure out the stats. You need to lean on your statistics and your data. You got to know your system works well before you can put your full faith and belief in it. And so, and that's true, because if the numbers work out, then you can emotionally detach a little bit, right? Yeah. So that was a big deal for me. But as you know, I've been kind of going down the statistical rabbit hole, and I found some really cool shit, cool. And, stuff that anybody would get excited about. The issue is that I know me personally, and I'm going to go ahead and throw myself under the bus here. I started to put the data before the process, and I called you and said, hey, listen, man, I don't know what is happening here. I got some serious FOMO, the whole 9 yards. I see a 90% probability, and I don't even wait for the process. I just hit the button, and it'll end up costing me a couple losses before it actually plays out. And ultimately, really what the deal is, if I just waited for the process, something that was in the plan, premeditated, that we use the process as our trigger and the data so that we can, confirm and hold our trades for potentially a bigger target. Whereas I was really I got so wrapped up in the numbers and, a 90% probability. Look at me. Like, let me just get long. No. Right. And so when I reached out to you, I said, Nate, I'm stuck in a loop here, brother. I need some help. And you obviously helped me. We had a great session, and that's where, kind of what I wanted to parlay into with you.
Yeah, and appreciate that. And you're right. That is the very first step, right? And it's honestly one of the reasons I don't really work with new traders, in the sense of like they have to understand what their rules are, what their strategy is, those type of things. Because if you don't have that foundation, kind of like you mentioned, like there's nothing to stand on. Right. Great. I feel confident about something I'm hopeful about. What? There has to be something that has structure to it. And so, right, rules and strategy, and what do you do how do you maintain your trade? What do you do after? What do you do before? Like these are things that have to be foundational to it. And then after that, we kind of step into emotional regulation, right? And that's really because when stuff hits the fan, when you're in the middle and you got money on the line, it is very different. And we know that, right? There's paper trading results and there's money on the table results.
Everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the face. And
Mr. Tyson.
And that probably has a lot to do with our conversation that you and I had. Actually, I didn't even get to tell you this, but as the more that I thought about our conversation, and I'm just going to throw this out there, and it's going to sound terribly conceited, but it's true. I'm right a lot. I mean, a lot. I mean, most of the time I'm right. And, when something doesn't go as planned, when I'm not right, I get punched in the face. And the thing is I'm so used to being right that when I'm not, it throws me for a loop. And then I may start to tilt a little bit or what have you. And yeah, it's like, when you're right, listen, this sounds terrible. When you're right all the time, when you're not, you're like, oh shit. And I kind of lose it. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. That was unexpected, right?
Yeah.
It's like you just lose, please go ahead, please.
Well, and that's exactly it, right? Because that's the thing. Most people think that this is a mindset issue or it's a trading psychology issue. It's a performance under pressure issue.
Correct.
Because like you said, when you get punched in the face, all of a sudden adrenaline kicks in and cortisol and all these chemicals start going into your system. And so your brain operates completely different. Like I'll tell a lot of traders, especially I learned this from my mentor when I first started, 2012 or something along that a while ago, where I loved what he said. He said, you lose 50% of your brain cells when you get in a trade. So if you think you're going to be logical when you get into a trade, good luck, right? Like you have to have that stuff established ahead of time because this is the process, the protocol that you're going to follow when you're not thinking straight. And kind of the way that I look at that is we think about so I've been blessed to work with some incredible people, right? And
you're welcome.
Right, one of them. Coming out of DC, I get a lot of I guess the best way to put them is my secret ninja squirrels, right? Like some of these people working in some really awesome sectors, but when you're talking to somebody, for example, in the middle of a firefight, let's just go military or law enforcement for a moment. When you're in the middle of a firefight, physically, some of the stuff that happens when all those adrenaline chemicals get kicked into the system, sometimes they'll lose peripheral vision. They'll get tunnel vision. Their vision can go black and white. They can lose 50% of their hearing. And so does that sound like a real creative, logical state to be in?
Right.
That's fight, flight, freeze, man.
Yeah.
And so emotionally, that stuff's going to override sometimes what our training is. Now, that's what we got to get right, lock it in right there. If you're not training for that, when the bullets are flying, when everything's going crazy, when the volume index hits and all of a sudden somebody makes an announcement, when there was just a loss, when you're not training and conditioning yourself for that, then logic goes right out the window. And that's why the plan can go right out the window.
Right.
And so when I'm working with traders, yes, it is psychology. Yes, it is, mindset. Yes, it is those things, but it's the conditioning. Because what happens for most traders is that they have that loss, especially like you're talking about with such a high hit ratio when you're used to winning. And then right after, what happens? Maybe the loss isn't that big. Right. You're like, oh my God, I haven't wiped out my account. No, because you know how to manage risk. Right. Oh, wow. Again, going back to structure. But what happens is after the loss, that little voice in our head goes, well, that didn't feel good. I want to make that back. And now
not only that, but for me, I know I immediately assume okay, I was wrong about that. Am I wrong about the rest?
Right.
Yeah. Because immediately I'm like, okay, you're wrong. What else didn't you see?
Yep.
Right? It's the first thing I think about. Yep.
And if that isn't rehearsed, if that isn't conditioned, if that isn't trained over and over and over for you to snap back faster, and it doesn't mean that those thoughts and feelings aren't going to show up. We know that.
Right.
Like nobody arrives at trading, right? Like I know it all. I'm perfect. No. Yeah. And so we have to condition that. And that's why what I appreciate about you and I and our tune-ups and oil changes and that kind of thing is that because we're constantly working on that, constantly conditioning it, we play better when the game comes. And if there is a loss, recover faster.
Yep. Well, you remember when I first met you, which I think at this point must have been a year or two ago. I can't recall. But when I first came to you, I even said, hey, listen, I know that I'm going to constantly need these little tune-ups, right? Because it's just, this is a very mentally taxing and emotionally game. And the thing is it wears on you. Yeah. It really wears on you, right? And so, especially pro athletes, they have to be great once a week. We have to be great every day. which is it's an insane concept. Actually, that's just an insane concept. Yeah. And so we have all these things, and like, you know, you were asking me first thing, like, have you been sleeping? Have you been exercising? Right? Because it all comes down to like routine, right? How are you doing with these certain things? And these are certain things that, you know, we lose track of as individuals over time, in my opinion, right? Like, I've been terribly busy, you know, with the Substack's been growing, you know, I've made a joint partnership. I've been working with you, doing podcasts, stuff like that, right? But, you know, because we've added all these other layers, other things take the back seat or have a tendency to get sacrificed, which ultimately messes your routine up, which is one of the things that you and I or other people have built to have consistency, right? Yeah. And when we throw wrenches in the works, things get a little different. And all of a sudden, like I told you, I was like, dude, I haven't meditated in 2 weeks. And you're like, why? And I'm like, because I found other areas to fill that time, right? And that's not necessarily right. That's terrible wrong.
Right.
It's just, you know, it happens. Right?
And that's the part that gets you too. Like, we always think that the interrupters or the disruptors are going to be something bad.
Right.
And sometimes good stuff shows up.
It's the little stuff.
Yeah. Good things can show up and get in the way too. Of, like you said, right? Like, you had started to look at the data and being, oh no, I get this, no problem, because this is my hit ratio for this. This is why this is going to work. Right. Certainty kicked in over the data instead of the process that you had mentioned, which the process is the gold, right? Like, that's the moment where you're like, what do I do before the trade? How do I maintain the trade? What do I do after the trade? How do I move into the next trade? That's kind of the process. But like you said, that's all built on structure. And that's what I appreciate so much about you, is that you understand the structure. And when you're training and teaching people, like, that's the 101 stuff, right? Like, you gotta have that. And if you want that, this is the guy. And then if you need to know how to do it, how to keep this in the game. And then that's why I think this is such a good relationship as well.
I mean, that's the next level part of it, right? Like, it's one thing understanding, you know, volume profiles and whatever, the engulfing candles and all this other crap, right? Like, you and I both know, like, that you are, and I'm just going to say you, and this whole side, the psychology side is 80 to 90% of this whole thing, right? Like, and you and I both know that, you know, my way isn't the only way. There's 1,000 different traders out there who are profitable, and they all do things differently. You are one of them. You and I have never talked about trading styles whatsoever.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know you, you're a futures trader yourself. Yeah. And we do not mix, you know, church and state, right? We don't talk about that, right? So, you know, but the thing is that you're profitable and you do it a certain way, and I'm profitable and I do it a certain way. So there's only one thing that disconnects the traders who are unprofitable versus profitable, and it ain't process, right? So that's, you know, that's one of the biggies that I just wanted to touch on with people, because I've seen a lot of people come through my doors, especially in the Discord room, where they have everything laid out for them, and for whatever reason, the guy sitting next to them makes a killing and they can't seem to get it done. It's the exact same information in the exact same market, what have you. And it's not because they're trading differently. It's simply because of what's going on in the noggin.
Yeah. So, yeah, you're exactly right. And that's one of the things too, because I remember a trader years ago when I was first starting, and I was kind of learning my process and how do I trade and those kind of things, my structure, I should say. Yeah. Probably a better way to put it. And so he was talking about how, like, people would pay him tens of thousands of dollars.
I remember you told me this. Yeah.
Right. Fly out to him, sit with him in the very room and watch him go step by step.
Right.
And he would say, like, here, take my whole system. And there was this whole thing of, and people would ask him, like, if you're so good, why are you selling your system? And one of the things he said is, like, because I know less than 5 to 10% of people are ever going to follow my system.
Yeah.
Because they're going to wait too long to get in. They're going to stay too long. They're going to think of 1,000 different things to not do what they know works, because now emotion starts kicking in.
Correct.
And so you're right. That's the whole game. And that's why I don't work with that part of it, right? If you don't know what industry you want to be in, if you don't know if you want to do options or if you want to do futures, if you want to scalp, if you want to whatever, if you don't know your process, there's, like you said, there's tons of coaches that have things that work. And it's not like a secret thing, like, okay, here's the one golden nugget that's going to fix everything.
Yeah.
Because chances are you already have it, right? Like, we just got to follow it. Correct. Most of the time, it's not the strategy. No. Like, and here, get this too, right? Like, the percentages that you need to have to win are so incredibly small.
It's true. actually.
I mean, you think about it. Vegas is built on 1 to 5%. And you're talking about the different games, everything from roulette to blackjack to right, like all of that stuff is their house advantage is between 1 and 5%.
Right.
Well, what happens for most traders is we think that we're the gambler, and you're not. You're the house.
It's a good way of looking at that.
You have an edge. That means you're the house. Now, how does the house really win? The house really wins by what? Keeping your butt in the seat.
Yeah.
The house wins because if I win a $10,000 hand,
yeah,
or if I win $5 at the slot machine, they know that how do they win is by keeping you in the seat consistently over time, and that is going to play out, and that's 1 to 5%.
Yeah, right. And there's Vegas is built on 1 to 5%. It's crazy.
And so when you and I are talking about strategy, especially yours, holy crap, dude, when you're hitting 85 to 90% sometimes, like talk about an advantage.
Right.
And so how do you make that win? You make that win by being consistent and doing enough trades. That's why when something blows out, it's not a blowout of now your account's empty. It's okay, that hand didn't work. What's the next one?
Right.
What's the next one? What's the next one? This is a long game, and most people forget that. Because the problem is we see on TV or we see that person, the guru on YouTube, and they're like, okay, here's where I made $1 million on this one trade. And we're sitting here thinking, okay, that's what I got to do is $1 million on one trade. That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
No, man, give me a small advantage played out over a long time, and baby, you got money.
No, you're totally right. And I know this kind of is not really skewed to what we're talking about, but so Rob and I have developed now our automated strategy. It only has a 46% win rate. It wins less than half the time, but it literally does almost 50% a year.
Yeah.
You know, it's like one of those things, right? Where it's like, you don't have to be amazing, right? You just the numbers just have to be.
Right? You got to be consistent.
Yes.
And you got to make sure your risk management is where it needs to be.
And the sample size, I think that was a huge part of what you were talking about. Like, it's all about the sample size, right?
Yep.
It's how long do you sit there? How long does it work? You know, how long does it take? Are the math in your favors? The casinos know the math is in their favor.
That's right. That's why they're offering you drinks, and here's your comp, and here's your food, here's your buffet, and that's why there's no windows. Like,
or clock
back there. You're in there, man. Like every year, I'm in Vegas teaching at a conference and that type of stuff, and like it's amazing because once you walk in there, I mean, there's times when I spend days in the casino, and it's not because of the conference, not because I'm gambling, but like. I'm there and I'm like, is there an outside anymore?
Yeah.
Like,
what time is it?
Everything's there. And
right.
Why? Because they win by keeping you in the seat, and they win by playing hand after hand after hand. And then we get upset because one bad trading day.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
oh, maybe I'm not cut out for this. No, baby, come on.
Right. It's simply how you react on those bad trading days.
It is.
You know,
it is. And recognizing that they're going to happen. That's the other side too, right? Like that was one of the issues with one of my traders. Like this guy, absolutely brilliant, right? Like sold a software company back in the day. Like he is just used to being one of the smartest guys in the room, and it's backed.
That's probably a big problem for him.
And it became one. Yeah. Because what happened for him is his system was just fantastic, but he was always trying to optimize it. And even if it was just a little couple points off or whatever it was, he was constantly trying to optimize this thing, and he wasn't getting the results. Why? Because he kept playing with the system when it didn't need to be played with. The structure was off.
He didn't have enough sample size.
And then his ego got caught up into it, which is all of us as well. And that's not just him, that's all of us. And right? Yeah, right here. And so it's what happens right after that loss that makes the difference. If that thing kicks in where you go, well, what if I'm wrong about all these other things? If the thing that kicks in, it goes, no, I want my money back. If the thing kicks in is now I gotta whatever, versus I'm taking a new trade as if it's the only thing that exists in the world, which is the truth at that one time and time, then that's how we go off. That's how we start loosening the rules and the criteria just a little bit. Next thing you know, we turn around and go, how did I blow out my account? What happened?
Right. It's true.
Our goal is to live to trade another day, man.
Seriously, because if you blow all your wad in one shot, it's over real fast and painful. It's very painful. Yep. So you've been working on some things. You said that you wanted to kind of announce here or whatever. You want to tell me what you haven't really even told me. What is it? What do you got going on?
Yeah. So there's some new ideas, new programs because of what you and I are talking about. I call it the trading lab. Okay. And inside of that, it's going to be meeting folks once a week. It's going to be a group where we're going to talk about some of the mindset, how this stuff works, how the brain works, creating that structure, but then also actually doing the conditioning in that moment. Because, cool. Right? And then sending folks home with homework and that type of stuff. And that way we create the community around this thing instead of just being, because that's the other side too. This stuff becomes really lonely, right? Yeah. Because I mean, most guys and gals are sitting in their desk, they're watching 5 different screens, and then they try to explain and express this stuff to somebody else, a civilian. And they're like, how was work today? Well, right. And so that happens, and we start getting into our own head. And so this way there's a community, but we're also doing the work. So that's part of it as well. There's also something called a performance intervention. And this happens for a lot of people. It's kind of the first step where if you're just kind of in tilt, or if you're just recognizing that something's not working or you want to catch the stuff early, then we jump in, do the work, and get you right on the right path again.
Well, this is awesome. How do I come to this? Like, I want to be there. Like, well, yeah. How do I, so I guess what's the plan? Like, walk me through this. Like, how do I get in? How do I do it?
Yeah, unshackabletrading.com. I mean, go check that out. You can set up consultations. We'll have a conversation, how I can help. Like I said, I'm not for everybody. And the reason I say that is because if somebody is brand new and they're like, tell me how to trade. No, go see Brian. Right? Like, that's what he specializes in. I'm going to teach you how to follow it. Sure, and so let's find out what works best for you. And that's one of the most important things.
So I'm a mess, right? I'm a fucking mess, right? So like
snap back faster. I think that was part of the conversation you and I had on the phone, was what would have happened 2 years ago if the same scenario would have happened.
That's fair, right?
And we talked about all the things that would have happened emotionally, physically, like what would you have done the next day, all of that stuff. And notice that you looked at this in that moment, you were like, this is the failure. I'm like, no, that's the win, because you're like, oh, I'm not doing that anymore. How do I catch this? We're all going to have those moments. Right. It's just a matter of coming back faster.
For sure. So the weekly things, are they going to be done like in a group scenario, a Zoom, or what is it?
Yeah. So it'll be online, and folks will, everybody logs in. We'll kind of go through and I'll chat and how this stuff works. And so it's pretty simple, right? The training lab, you'll have audio programs and video resources and worksheets and stuff to go through. But again, what's nice about that is, like you and I are talking about, this helps us to continually have improvement as we go along.
Well, you sent me, like, just so everybody knows, I'm balls deep in with this guy at this point. And you sent me a bunch of awesome recordings and all this stuff that I actually listen to when I get out of whack. I take 20 minutes and go put my headphones on and sit in the corner somewhere. Not with my dunce hat on. I just sit
not the dunce hat. Let's get my shit together hat.
Are you going to be doing something similar with this too, or is there going to be stuff for people to?
Yeah. All of it's catered, man. All of it is for traders, right? Like, that's the community I want to build up, because again, it's just different. And like I said, it can be lonely, and it can be us getting stuck in our own head. And it has to be something consistent. Think of it almost like a gym membership for your mind.
Right.
Because again, we can go to the gym, lift one weight, and be like, nah. Right? Like, you have to keep going back. And even when we're talking about the athletes, like we were talking about before, some of those, secret ninja scrolls and stuff that I work with, like, these guys train all the time. Oh. Like, think about it. Like, even the level of our SEALs and our Rangers and that type of stuff. Like, they're still training over and over and over again
for scenarios that may never happen.
And that's exactly right. And that's so good you said that too, because think about that for a moment. We trade in environments where we're thinking everything's going to go perfect. No, you want to trade in environments, and this is the subconscious conditioning that I work with people. This is kind of what it differentiates, is that this is something where we're going to go through what happens when everything goes wrong.
Yeah.
How do you handle when the volume goes silly? How do you handle when that news announcement shows up? And I think about early on when I first started trading, one of the big things when I learned that the market can do whatever the heck it wants to do is when, remember the Fukushima earthquake?
Okay, no, I don't.
Well, that was when in Japan there was the big earthquake and the nuclear power facility.
Oh, yeah.
Radiation started getting out. Like it was a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Like that takes you back how long I've been doing this stuff, right? Like, but so I'm early on in my trading career, and so we're doing that first. The first quake happens, and then I remember specifically, this is when I learned that you have to have a stop. Like I knew it, but this was the one that locked it in for me.
Yeah, right.
Like a day or two later, and they were having some afterquakes.
Okay.
And one of them hit, and I remember looking at the screen, and I watched this thing drop. I mean, it looked like a stone falling from heaven, man. And I couldn't believe how fast this thing was going. And it blew right past my stop. It took a little while before it actually kicked in because it was moving so fast.
Right.
But like if there was nothing there, there would have been nothing there.
Literally nothing.
Like, and it registered with me like this is why. Like it took a while for a little bit for it to get filled, but it got filled. Yeah. And so that's why when we're talking about certainty, I got to have this. It's got to be 100. It's never going to be 100%. Right. And if you don't have and I'm kind of going on a tangent now, but if we don't have how we're going to maintain our trades and what we're going to do, our stops and targets and all that kind of stuff, back to structure, the stuff that you teach. If you don't have that stuff, it will burn you. And I don't know where I was going with that, but like,
it's cool,
dude.
Well, you know what? Listen, again, we don't script any of this. We're just talking, right? So, one of the things I think you should do, which would be cool for the people listening, for me, for everybody, and to really get the idea, the concept out, you should, one of these weekly check-ins, you should record one.
Oh,
even if
nobody too. Yeah, they'll be recorded. So if you can't make it, you'll get the replays.
Yeah, well, even if nobody wanted to, like, maybe people are embarrassed, they don't want, people to know they're there. I'll be that guy. Listen, I'll be the guy. Like, I don't have any problem.
Right.
I'm wrong. I'm bad. I'm whatever. I'm here. I
have all the answers. That's me.
Right. So yeah, I would think that would be great if you could do that for everybody. That would be super.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll probably do. You know what? I'll add a link with this as well, where people can register, and we'll run one of these things, and that way you can just kind of try it out and see what they think.
That would be awesome. You know what? If you run one just to see, I bet you I can get everybody in my room to come because they would love that. And there's a lot, everybody in my room that's been, so I have guys in there that have been trading with me 5, 7, 8, 9 years. I mean, I literally since a long time. And they all know that I do this with you, and they all ask questions, all of them, because they all, but again, this is, they see the change in me, but you know how it is with some people, it's like, they got to see it. They're like doubting Thomas. They have to see it to believe it. Jesus, tell me.
So, and then also you got to realize too, so many of them, not all, but so many of them are dudes. And we don't ask for help.
99% of this is guys. You know what I mean?
I work with lots of ladies in this stuff, which, sorry, fellas, but lots of them do so much better. Because
women are the best traders. They have patience and they have great risk. And they're not as, what's the word? I'm not spontaneous. But fair enough. Yeah. So they're great. Women are
a lot of that stuff. I mean, guys, we don't talk about it a lot of times. And so that's why I want to create this, where if somebody wants to be in there and like I said, they can be anonymous. They can turn their camera off. We can still go through, we still get the teaching. They'll still get the resources and everything. And so, but also if you want to ask questions, if you want to be specific, and it's going to be different each time, right? Sometimes it's about over trading. Sometimes it's about moving stops. Sometimes it's about, right? Like, so just, it's the trader experience, man.
Well, you know what's funny, dude? So all the things that you are talking about, and this is, I said this last time you and I talked, but it's true. People come to you that are in my position, traders, whatever, and they think that these are just problems that they experience, right? And it seems to me that what you think is such a deep personal problem, it's got to be a you thing. Everybody is doing the same shit. Everybody. It's literally like, it's crazy because you're like, you think this is the first time I've heard that? I'm like, well, it's unique to me. And you're like, no, it's not actually. I'm not special. Okay.
You're unique, just like everybody else.
That's right. Right. So kind of wild. I mean, it's, we all go through the same difficulties, but again, that all comes back to the human psychology factor, right? We're all built the same way. We're all designed. I saw one of your tweets on Substack or whatever post on Substack. You were talking about how, that's the way that we're still cavemen in here, and our brains are telling us to protect. You need to be protected, right? And the market is a place where you go to get hurt, technically, right? In a sense, like, or it can hurt you, right? And so your brain is constantly trying to protect you from putting on risk, which is the whole purpose of being in the market.
Right? You're exactly right. And that's what makes this so different as well, right? Like you and I have talked about a lot of the professionals that get into trading, right? They have really incredible careers and doctors and lawyers and business owners and that type of thing. And that type of work doesn't translate well to this. And what I mean by that is, if I put in more time, more effort, more strategy, all these kind of things, then I'm guaranteed success as a doctor, as a specialist, as a lawyer, whatever. But the market does not care.
Well, dude, you and I both know that the time you put in and the ratio of money you make or rewarded don't equal. They're not, right. So, for instance, I've had, and he'll know as I'm talking about him as soon as he watches this, I had a guy in the room who's relatively new. He's been trading over the past year. And he's like, man, like the market's been volatile lately. We went through a time period where for like 2 months, he was able to catch the first 30 minutes to an hour. He was done. He's like, this is the best thing ever. He's like, what? I should just do this instead of my real job. And I'm like, just wait 1 minute, right? So now we've had some very interesting, mornings for the past month or so. And, we sit there most of the day waiting for a play. And he's like, this shit sucks. And I'm like, yeah, dude, like this is normal. What you experienced was not normal. This is normal, where you just have to sit with your sniper rifle and wait. And so again, in the beginning, again, the guy is a very distinguished professional. He's like, I'm making just as much money doing this in 15 minutes in the morning. Now he's sitting here with me till noon going, are we ever going to catch a move? And I'm like, I know, bro.
And that's a perfect way to put it too, because sometimes it's not the losses and the wins and all that kind of stuff, overconfidence or underconfidence and those type of things. Sometimes it's straight up boredom.
For real.
Because we forget there's food everywhere when it comes to the market. There's food everywhere. There's so many winning trades, so many things that you can be into, so many industries and things that are making money. And that when you're sitting there waiting for your specific thing, like you said, with your sniper rifle, and you're like, I want to shoot anything I can. No. You got going after this game, and this is the one I want. This is the trophy I want on my wall. Right? But I'm itchy.
So funny.
No, we gotta follow, and that's the game.
It's so true.
Maybe the best way you protect your capital for the day is not trade, or maybe you get out after one or two. Or again, that goes back to structure. But man, you nailed it. That's it.
It's just, it's just funny because our time is money as well, right? Like that is the only resource we essentially can't get back. So as you're sitting here and you're like, man, this is good. I need to make something happen. No, you really don't. Actually, your best trade is probably not making something happen, right? Yep. And that's something that you and I went over for me personally. I'm happy again to kind of throw myself out there, right? So like I got the trade plans. I'm streaming for 25, 30 people in the Discord room. We're doing X, we're doing Y, we're doing Z, got all this shit. And there's a pressure to perform there. There's a pressure to basically put up numbers, right? Yeah. No matter what. And like you said, sometimes maybe the best example you can set for the people in your room is you just didn't take a trade, right? And that's kind of it's a very unfamiliar concept because we relate success, especially as men, but we relate success with money and action, right? And sometimes no action might be the best action, which is a very difficult thing to wrap my caveman head around.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. And like I said, like we talked about, like that comes down to conditioning. That's the pressure. That is the performance. Like that's the critical moment for folks, because like you said, you can have this incredible structure, amazing performing, but like if you're not following it, if all of a sudden you start loosening up a little bit here, a little bit there, optimize or change or whatever, go a little loosey-goosey on your rules, that's how things happen so fast. And so that's why we have to train. What do we do when we're bored out of our mind? What do we do when we haven't had a good, or I know, going on tangents again. So some of the athletes that I worked with, right? Like one of my guys, amazing baseball player, like he might be going pro, like he's a beast. And so 3 out of 10 and you're a rock star.
Isn't that crazy? A 300
out of 10.
Right.
And that means 7 of them ain't going anywhere. How do you wrap your head around that?
Right.
And that's the performance under pressure. Now, if I step up there and I know I got a scout in the audience, if I go up there and know about my average, here's the thing too. We don't know when the 3 out of 10 is going to happen.
Yes. Maybe
they'll happen all at the same time, like your buddy. Well, that happened, right? Oh, I'm winning all the time. I'm the man. Right? Or maybe it's 7 losses and then 3 at a time, or maybe they're scattered, and we don't know when that stuff's going to show up. And again, that comes performance under pressure. That is the moment where if we're not right in our mindset and our training, and if we're not locked in on these things, that's when it goes sideways.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Nate, this is great. I would love, like we talked about this. You and I talk a lot personally. I mean, I'd love for you to come back on here all the time. Like, I don't know if you can come every week, but maybe twice a month or whatever. But dude, we should, this is good stuff. And this is the kind of stuff that I feel like, I mean, listen, I won't pretend that I don't, check and see what my peers in the industry are doing, right? Nobody's talking about this type of stuff. People talk about my setups and my VWAPs and blah, 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 blah. But nobody's talking about the hardest part of the whole game. Like nobody's talking about it. And I think this is a very important part of long-term success in this business. I truly believe that I would not be where I'm at today without you and without my, the first hypnotherapist I met, who's retired now. And, I'm just saying, like, I have taken this to the point where I know there's certain things we as humans, we just can't do it ourselves. We just can't do it. Right. It's like, and especially it's hard for a lot of men like me. I don't like to ask for help. I'm the guy that doesn't ask for directions. Right. Like that was me. Right. Like Aggie's always like, ask somebody where it's at. Like, man, fuck that.
Right. Arms falling off. Maybe I should go to the doctor.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Anyways, no, I really appreciate you coming on, and I'm really looking forward to seeing this product of yours. I'm certainly going to be there.
Awesome.
And just real quick, just before we get off here, tell me real fast. And again, this is for my own personal benefit and maybe others as well. The services that you're doing for traders right now, I know that you're developing a lot of new stuff, which is awesome and exciting. What's in the queue right now? Like, tell me, people, what kind of quivers are they having in their, there. So tell me what's
So for a lot of folks, kind of the entry point would be the performance intervention, right? Like if stuff's going sideways on you, let's fix what's bleeding real quick, right? So that we can kind of get you on the right course. The trading lab I really like just simply because it is a community, right? And that camaraderie. And when you say let's do this, like it lights me up too because I'm a geek. I love this stuff, right? Like when I got into trading, like as much as I love trading, I love making money, I love optimizing, I love systems, and I love how all that stuff works. What really excited me, and thankfully from the guy I learned from, like it was drilled into me, the psychology of this stuff. And so that's what excites me so much about it. And that it parlays into so many other aspects of life. The intervention, the trading lab, there's always one-on-one coaching, but some other workshops that I'll be running too is kind of like we were talking about, how do we change, how do we interrupt one trade and not have it turn into 3 or 4 or tilt, right? So what can we do in that moment specifically? The mindset stuff is there, all of that as well. So there'll be a variety of different tools that people can utilize over time. But the biggest one to begin with is performance, and then getting into a community. So one, you're realizing you're no longer alone in this. And like you were saying, the issues and stuff that you're going through, that's why I love this stuff too, is because it's the neuroscience. There's a pattern of behavior of how we work as people. And this is how we can put this stuff in the right course and right direction.
Well, this is good stuff. I'm actually looking for this right now. I'm going to show everybody real fast. I'm going to share my screen and embarrass you for a second. Just because it's important. Like, guys, Nate is, when I say he's the best in the business, in my opinion, he truly is. Nate is not just a handsome guy with gray hair. Yeah. Here, let me show you. Let me show you this real quick because I think this is cool, and I won't embellish on this, but I wanted to find this here. Hang on, let me see. Share screen. Where did I send it to? Here it is. So Nate, you briefly mentioned that you go to Vegas once a year, and I just wanted to show everybody, like, you are actually leading these hypnotherapy conferences that are bringing hypnotherapists in from all over the country, probably more. And I just wanted to show, like you're not just some schmuck that I met online. Like, you're actually leading, like, the hypnotherapy, whatever you guys call that, like your little your clan of people, or I don't know, whatever your professional organization is called.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to share this with people because I thought it was absolutely great. I remember when you first sent me this picture, I was like, oh, this dude's he's really in it. Really, really in it. So I just wanted to share that with everybody because I thought this was super. And, you're not just a guy who's pumping their services or whatever, because you're not. I asked you to come on, but I really wanted to, I guess this is just more to legitimize who you are, and not only my eyes, but other people's eyes as well. It goes, far beyond just, my recommendation at this point. This is good shit. So
yeah, I appreciate that, man. I do.
Yeah, for sure.
It's incredible. When I first got into this, the folks that I've interacted with, the people, like the different businesses and industries, like, I just would never in a million years think it would lead me to where I am. And it's incredible. Like, I'm about to go out to Colorado later on this month, and like the guys that I'm going to be meeting with, I mean, industry leaders, right? Like awesome. Moving stuff. And it's incredible to work with them. And it's just, I'm so grateful. And I appreciate the fact that, as different as we think we all are, one of the reassuring parts is that we're in a lot of ways the same, right? Like, and so we're not alone in this. And what happens is lots of times is that we get caught up in thinking I'm the only one, or we're thinking we're too embarrassed to talk to somebody else about it. And look, man, I ain't here to judge, because I got them just like everybody else.
Right.
It's just a matter, how do I catch this stuff faster so that we can move forward? And when I love seeing people succeed, I like seeing people break through that area. Like, I love when somebody comes into my office. What's that?
We have that in common.
Right? Like, when somebody comes into my office and they're like, this is that area, I can't move past this, I'm broken, whatever. And I'm like, no, you're good. It's a story. Let's change this. Let's move this. And all of a sudden stuff starts opening up. Like, that's my purpose. Like I said, I love making money just like everybody else. But like, part of my purpose in life is this, like, helping people to see who they can become and watching it happen. I know I'm on a soapbox now, man, but that's good. That's cool. I love this stuff. And I thank you for the opportunity to share with folks.
Well, you kind of said it before, like, and it goes back to like an old Bible scripture or whatever that, Solomon used to always say, nothing new under the sun.
Right.
It doesn't matter if it was 10,000 years ago or 10 years ago.
Yep.
It's all the same shit.
Yep.
Right? We're all going through the same things. Nothing really changes. We're all kind of pre-coded a certain way, and actually our brains are probably, like you said, going crazy with all this technology. We're actually way farther beyond
this has never existed in human psyche ever, right? And we're dealing with stuff on a whole different level, man. And so yeah, it's just the last I'm doing it again.
Go ahead, finish it off with this.
I know, man. Oh, another hour. Right? Like, if you just, the mind and body, the nervous system hasn't caught up to where we are. And one of the things that I love to do is I follow people who, like the athletes, the actors, the high performers that I look at, and because there's success leaves clues.
Right.
We can say, yes, there are the people who are just, it's the luck, right? They won the lottery, whatever it was.
Yeah,
but the majority of us, it's the folks that are grinding it out, having to figure out what works and what doesn't work. And what I love about the neuroscience, what I love about the conditioning that I get to do and the work that I get to do with people is that, because success leads clues, well, let's follow the patterns that create the success. That's cool. For traders, in the very same way that we're creating our strategy, how do you create your strategy? You just start clicking the button and hoping something works? No, you look for patterns.
Right.
And once you learn these patterns and how that operates, what does the market do in these moments? That's how we create the system. Well, the same thing goes in here. And once we start to create that, now we can follow it. And now we start seeing, I'm on that soapbox again. Now it just flows. And that's where I want folks to be.
Well, that's what's up. Well, listen, Nate, I mean, I'm excited about the weekly program. Please give me the links. I'll include all your stuff in this podcast so people can check it out. Guys, check out unshackabletrading.com. Also check out Nate on Substack. If you noticed, he's one of my recommendations. I'm always retweeting his stuff. It's quality stuff, guys. You guys know I don't put fluff out there. So this is he's Tits McGee. So anyway, thank you so much, Nate, for coming through, and let's do it again, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Ryan.
See you soon.